Welcome to Holdback Rack Podcast. My name is Jessica Hare. I operate Hare Hollow Farm, and we breed boas, balls, and select colubrids.
Hi, I'm Jana King. I operate ASM Royal Tails, and I breed high-end ball pythons.
We want to share our journey navigating herpetoculture and are dedicated to promoting biohazard safety for all species. And we would love you to answer the question, what's in your holdback rack?
Hello. It is episode 41. Yo, Jessica, are you alive?
No.
No, she's not alive. Okay, so I should probably say that this is a not for safe... Wow, that was good. This is a not safe for work podcast, and Jana has already been drinking. But apparently I should have just sent a keg over to Jessica's house.
Well, you'll have to take a sip every time you say a bad word. Because you're already drinking?
That means I need a read.
Oh, no. I talked to Shane Kelley, sponsor of the Holdback Rack podcast, about last week's question. And he said the super inchy father had proven out super inchy already. And then he sent me a picture of the super pastel father. And he's like, it looks super pastel to me. And I'm like, it sure fucking does. So
I think it's a
single Partheno baby.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe.
That's my theory.
Mm-hmm.
Because she was a virgin, wasn't she?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's a Partheno baby. That should just be snake food, Shane, if you're listening. I mean, pet only.
Right.
Definitely pet only, yeah.
Did you watch his new video this week?
I watched it and I commented on it.
Whoa!
Boom! Eat that. That's right. Shane Kelley, in case you missed my comment, I would like to be on the wait list for a baby of said...
Isn't that a female?
That snake. She is a female.
I know, you're not going to get a snake out of it
years.
for...
He is pairing her to his hands for G-Stripe.
What do you think a Mario G-Stripe will look like?
I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea what a Mario Leopard G-Stripe would look like, but it's going to be hot because Leopard is really good in that project. I have several het G-Stripe leopards, and I have my up-and-coming male for next season is Leopard Yellow Belly G-Stripe. It's a good combo.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, good pickup. I was drooling once again. Thank you, Shane.
Did you see Gomez Python's clutch cutting of that clutch?
I didn't, no.
Okay. Mario's interesting because it's pretty subtle-ish. They have cute little lips. And obviously they look really contrasty in Desert Ghost, but it was interesting seeing the leopard fight with the Mario.
Mm-hmm.
So people should check out Gomez Python's clutch cutting for that, because I don't think I've seen a leopard Mario anywhere else. My dumb dinker, Peter Dinklage, at one time in this podcast's history, I thought he could be a leopard Mario. You remember that?
Oh, I remember talking about it, but he still hasn't knocked anybody up, right?
No.
Is he going with you, or are you going to keep trying, or?
Yeah, he also hasn't eaten in like 100 years, so...
Oh. He already went to Oklahoma.
Yes. So Shane Kelley, still sponsoring the podcast. Check him out on Instagram, YouTube, and Morph Market for all of your Shane Kelley needs. So the adult 2020s and 2021 ball pythons have already left for Oklahoma and arrived.
Oh, they've arrived?
Yeah, and are there.
Did he crash on the way there? Or did he get there and then crash?
So my husband crashed the car. He crashed on the way back. So no snakes were harmed in the making of the journey to Oklahoma.
Oh, good job, buddy. That's an A+.
Chris Hare was also not harmed in the...
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Is your husband okay? Is your car okay?
That wasn't the first thing she asked about everybody, by the way.
No, it's not.
The car is not okay. The car is the opposite of okay. Chris is okay.
So is he taking
Pride.
home?
Bruised.
Oh, Chris. I'm
Poor
glad
buddy.
you're okay, and I'm glad that there were no snakes involved. It's a cross-country trip. It happens.
Yeah, I mean, it was technically his fault, but it wasn't like the worst accident in the earth. I don't know if he wants me to describe it in raw detail, but someone didn't have their blinkers on that they were turning left, and he tried to pass them because they were basically slow.
Yeah.
Because they were slowing down to turn.
Into him.
Yeah.
That's so like by the law, it was his fault,
Right, because
but
he
really
ran
it
into
wasn't.
them, technically. You know how that goes. Like if you run
That's,
into like the back half of
hey,
any
Chris,
vehicle.
I am not on the law's side on this one. That was not your fault, dude. Not at all.
It's
So I absolve you. I absolve you of the taking credit for that.
it's fine. Life's hard.
How's he getting back now? Is he leaving it there to get worked on, or is he getting a rental? How's that going to work out?
Okay, let me tell you a story about rainstorms, which never happen here. Well, I mean, rain
Okay, well, I'm going to
happens.
carry you over and get a beer while you tell me about
Okay,
rainstorms.
but thunderstorms don't happen here. So in places where there's actual heat in the environment and humidity at the same time, you get thunderstorms, which can produce hail. So long ago, we had the outback fully covered due to hail damage because it was basically like a cosmetic total loss.
Okay.
So the outback was free-ish.
Okay.
So we bought it, but then it had cosmetic total loss. So they covered the loan. And so we've just been driving around for 5 years with a bunch of dents in it. And I loved it.
Oh, okay. So they marked it as total, but it was totally fine.
Right. So
Okay.
even though we had insurance on it again, I didn't think they would bother to fix it again. I thought they were
Because
just
it's the
going.
same car that they already paid you in full for.
Yes, and I didn't think we even had full coverage on it because I don't think
I'm
they
surprised
allowed
that they
full
even
coverage on a
insured it.
salvage title.
Yeah. That's really interesting.
So apparently they are going to try to fix it again, and I was like, okay. Go for it, dude. I don't. USA Insurance, everybody. They're great. 10 out of 10.
Apparently, they're phenomenal.
Right. So they're going to. He thought they were just going to salvage it immediately, but they asked him to drop it off at a auto collision repair place to see if they could repair it. It doesn't have a ton of damage. That's all front end stuff. But if you crack the radiator and it's leaking on the ground, the frame has pushed into the engine and pushed everything else back too.
It's not right now.
So I don't know what they're gonna do. So I'm assuming it's gone forever. So that's pretty cool.
A new car payment on top of everything else.
But we were almost gonna have to buy a new car anyway. Because
this one would last the trip.
Well, I didn't think all the next set of snakes would fit in the Outback a second time.
You're gonna buy a new car before Thursday?
Or on Thursday.
Oh my god. You can't buy a car. You're under contract to buy a house.
In cash.
Oh, okay. I'm like, you just learned this.
Yeah, Chris sold the 180, so we have, $15,000 in cash that we could buy a cheap.
Was that his fancy car in the garage?
Not the Viper, the 180SX, the Japanese car.
Yeah, it was one of the two fancy cars in the garage.
He just, boys and their toys, right? If they have them too long, they get bored. They want to move on. There's nothing wrong with it. They just want a different toy. So he was just using the move as like an excuse. So he'd already sold it before the Outback exploded. But now we have to figure out a new way to transport boas and corn snakes. If they don't fit in whatever vehicle we have, I might have to drive to your house and give you a FedEx label, an insulated box, and snake bags of corn snakes and have you drive them to FedEx Tuesday or something next week. If they don't fit, but I don't even know anymore because now we can buy whatever vehicle we want. I really want one of those giant passenger vans that churches use.
The 15 big Mormon wagon.
I'm just like, Chris, let's go.
Oh, man.
We don't have enough kids, but we got a lot of snakes. We can go to so many shows and take out all the seats.
Why don't you get a truck?
Because it's 100 degrees in most of the West.
Oh, you need to be able to have the air on.
Yes.
Got it.
So I need something.
Why don't you get an Expedition then? Don't get a big Mormon wagon.
Come on, how cool would that be? It'd be like the party bus. You could take the seats in and out depending on how many people are in your party. Woo!
Yeah, except for when you were driving it like your kid to school and you've got this giant like preschool
No,
bus.
I would need like a daily. That would be like just for
Yeah.
going to shows. So it'd
I
have to
mean,
be cheap.
you can usually find them pretty cheap, so
Right. He's like,
you to
no,
use,
that's a terrible idea.
it is a terrible
I'm
idea,
like,
but
no,
I
it's
hear
gonna be
ya.
great. It'll just like park it in the fucking lawn like we need to and put it up on cinder blocks. Fit right in. And then get like a normal size daily, just a fucking Corolla or something normal. Doesn't make any sense to go to the grocery store in any vehicle that is bigger than you actually need. To me, what do I know though? I only have one fetus, just one. So I would prefer a small daily and like a big.
I would just like to offer up corrections. You have one crotch goblin. He's no longer a fetus.
What?
So unless you're trying to announce something right now,
No,
no. Okay,
he's
no,
like a late term fetus.
no, he's a crotch
When
goblin
he
now.
goes to kindergarten, I will.
That's next week.
Yeah, and then he gets to be a human.
Okay, he could be a fetus for another week. That's fine. You've had a rough month. He could be a
Listen,
fetus.
he still needs me, so this is like trimester 42 or whatever. So, correction. What did we say last week? Gray family reptiles.
Mm-hmm.
It's gray family snakes. And we deeply apologize. I think my problem is I know like 3 businesses that are name family snakes.
We have a gray family reptiles here.
Well, that's gray family scales.
Oh yeah, I'm just saying we sorry about that.
Right. But I know like a Smith family reptiles. I think I just smushed them all together in my mind. Yeah, we're sorry.
Anyway, Roger, we apologize. Thank you for the 5-star review. Check them out on Instagram. It is Gray
Family snakes.
Family Snakes.
Right.
I don't know why this is hard.
I don't know either.
Okay, it's not a hard name. We're just struggling here.
And then Jana pointed it out, and I did go through, and I don't think we did these shout outs because they never sent me screenshots, and if they did, it went to like my spam and I deleted it and I didn't know what I was doing.
It was gone forever. Or they sent it to me and I never check. So
Could be.
Yep. The irresponsible one is me.
So it was Mark at 403 Fauna with one of the best logos in the industry. The M1H.
Really?
Yeah. It's dope.
Hey, I gotta look this up. Hang on. We're gonna read these or are we just gonna say thanks?
No, I'm just going to read names and say thanks. Just for the reminder, 5-star reviews get a shout out, but you got to screenshot one of us, maybe not Jana, and maybe not me right now. So our third host.
Wait. What's her name? Who did we have a couple weeks ago?
Hello? On the podcast?
Yeah.
Oh, Maddox Gray. Outward Reptiles.
Message her.
All right.
Junior host.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, she's now the secretary.
Yeah, I'm confused as to what I'm looking at.
It's a turtle head in a rebel suit and helmet, like an X-Wing fighter.
I'm looking. It's just so tiny.
That's what she said.
Okay, that's pretty cool. It's just so tiny. It's not on any of his Instagram posts. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry. I should not drink before podcasting.
No, maybe you should drink
Extra.
more. There's like a curve there of efficacy.
Not enough.
The other one was M1H Buck and Ryan with no less than 3 Y's and 2 N's. Ryan! And Rudy Golds. Thank you. We appreciate it. Anybody you want to shout out that hasn't left a review that you want to bully into leaving a review by shouting them out right now?
Renfro Reptiles. I know you've been listening lately. Where's our 5-star review, please?
I know. What the heck?
What the heck? She was at the show with us in July. She's been avidly listening. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. And she also just started testing all her stuff because she's been listening. She was like, she already had her swabs and had done like higher risk stuff, but listening to us really put that fire under her ass.
All right, you tell me if she wants us to say that out loud.
Yeah,
sometime
I'll
in the
ask
next
her right now.
12 hours. Guess what, everybody? There's no evergreen this week.
You're welcome.
I still want to know every day, like, if anybody really cares about the evergreen part.
I've heard that they do. I heard that they like it.
Okay.
Every once in a while we can just go without. It's fine.
Right. I think Shane, the one and only sponsor, said he likes both parts.
All
So
right. Well,
I guess he's the only person who matters.
Lindsay messaged back. It's okay if we say that in the podcast.
Wow, live updates.
Live update.
Wow.
She said it's okay.
Breaking
if we say that
news.
it's testing. But I thought it was pretty cool because I feel like we've had a lot of people reach out that say that they've been teetering and then they listen to us and it's really made the difference. Normalizing it, making it okay, giving them, whatever little push they needed. And so I feel like, I don't know if it's like all us, like, oh, we're the change in the industry. I don't think that. Like, we're nobody and nobody cares and no one's listening. But, those 10 people that are listening, I feel like we're helping push the change along, and I feel really fucking good about that.
Good.
How do you feel, Jessica?
I feel...
Oh, yeah. She's moving, guys. She doesn't have any...
No, let's get it together.
Right now.
Okay.
But really, I should, virtually send you a beer or something.
All right, I got something that'll make you feel good. And not that.
I was just going to say, really?
The Lacey Act amendments were removed from the thing formerly known as the CARES Act. How do you feel? Take shots, everybody. Woo! Nice.
That's how I feel. Sorry if that was really loud in your guys' ears.
I'll have to play with the levels, maybe. I don't know if there's much to say, but, thank God. We know Florida is losing its mind. Losing its mind.
Well, I mean, in all fairness, it's probably just going to lose its mind in general. I think it's pretty shitty, the newest ones that they're adding, but it's a reptile playland, and people have been a little bit of assholes, just like, oh, just let it go outside, it's fine, and so, not that responsible people have done that, but irresponsible people have, and it's ruining it for everybody else. And so I think just because the environment is so conducive to invasive species that it's gonna just be a little bit ruined in Florida, and that sucks. What do you think?
I have a lot of feelings about a lot of things. It's probably a whole episode, but you cannot put invasive species back in the bag. So Florida has decided to burn down the barn instead of attempting to close the barn door after the horse gets out, but is also burning the barn with the horses in it.
Yeah.
Too. Is it like a Faustian bargain to be like, if we let the exotic industry persist in Florida, more invasive species will be introduced? That's probably true. That's probably a true statement. So they're choosing to just not let any additional ones happen by being draconian, but they're only doing it about certain kinds of things. Pet reptiles. They don't really give a shit about plants. Are they doing it as aggressively about fish?
No, they're really not, actually, and fish are just as bad as the reptiles.
Yeah. There's not a channel in South Florida that you can't get half of South America and part of Africa out of, or a ditch next to Walmart.
Ditch next to
It's
Walmart
full of African cichlids.
Or African cichlids, giant koi, all kinds of things.
So I don't. If it was me running Florida, which it clearly isn't, when you're trained in school, they're like, invasives are super bad. They're fucking everything up, and in some places they fuck it up a lot, a lot. Islands, very sensitive ecosystems that are sort of balanced in a very certain way. In some places, it just sort of adds to what's going on. And it might change the demography of the percentage of each species, but it doesn't necessarily one for one replace all natives. If it was me in Florida, I'd probably just be like, I don't care. Florida can just be an insane wonderland of invasive species, like it already is, because it already is. You can't get them out. That's just how it's going to be. Do you need to ban ball pythons?
No.
But that's what they're thinking of doing. So
I know, but I understand the knee jerk, burn it down, close all the barns, get everything out. Wham, wham, wham.
Well, speaking of which, in the European Union, all of Lampropeltis gatula has been banned.
And what is that in English?
King snakes.
Oh, okay. Why?
Because there's a population that got out on an island in the Canary Islands and is eating native birds. But the entire
the canaries?
The entire European Union has decided, in solidarity with the Canary Islands, to ban all Lampropeltis gatula. So that means all subspecies, including cow kings.
Whoa.
And it's cow kings that are doing it, but they banned the whole species. But then a bunch of other member countries have just been like, fuck it, all Lampropeltis is banned. So no Mexican black kings, no gray band king snakes, no anything in the genus.
I feel like a little bit of an overreaction worldwide.
Well, especially in like Norway, right?
Yeah.
So whole collections
are not going to invade your native bird habitats. They're going to die.
Right. They're not going to do that great in Norway or Finland or whatever. So I think it was the Netherlands specifically that decided to ban everything else. It's possibly because I'm pretty sure it's the Netherlands that has a problem with Alafe shenriki, the Russian rat snakes, having an invasive population in the Netherlands. Somebody let them go on purpose because they like them. And so there is a tiny, tiny invasive population in the Netherlands of Russian rat snakes. Don't tell anybody, but I actually think it's really cool.
That is kind of cool. Russian rat snakes are cool.
I know, but some fucking Dutch dude was like, I'm doing it.
I'm doing it. Fuck you
guys.
all.
I need a yard snake that's badass.
Can you imagine?
Right, don't let the DNR hear me say that I just said that.
I mean, that'd be kind of like if I was like, I need California red-sideds in my yard. That would be cool as fuck.
That's basically what he did.
It.
Yeah.
Let's just do it. Yeah.
That kind of shit, it obviously can work if you did it enough. Like, if you seeded a population enough. Like, the guy who let loose the first starlings was like, I read about him in Shakespeare, fuck you. Why? And he let a bunch loose. Now we have billions of those sons of bitches.
Right, but that was a long while back. I mean, I don't necessarily know if he understood. I mean, like, Scotch broom. Freaking Washington is like the devil's playground for Scotch broom, and that was like people came over and were like, we need a little piece of home, and it didn't do well over there, and they planted it, and then now the whole fucking state sniffles for 3 months.
You know what that's called, right? That's called ecological release. So when a species gets transplanted outside of its normal range, it doesn't necessarily have the viruses, predators, and competition that would normally keep its population controlled.
Environment, like it was better environment for it to flourish.
Right,
here,
so that's called ecological release. Some things don't experience ecological release when they're introduced somewhere. So those Russian rat snakes, they are doing okay in a very localized spot, but they're not like
traveling out
and killing kids and crashing cars and drinking. They're not like taking over Netherlands, going to the red light district.
That's why I said, like, Florida, I understand why everyone's panicking, but it's about 20 years too late to be panicking. And like you said, it's fish, it's plants, it's everything. It's not just the reptiles. And, I mean, it's everywhere in the world where it's happening with plants and other things. And do I think that we need to think about it and be educated about it? For sure. But I think it's just an excuse to pick on the reptile industry. Because that seems to be like where most of the focus is.
I mean, they are mad about other things too, just to be clear. But
well, like there's like plants you can't buy for ponds and stuff because they're considered invasive here. I get it, I do see it a little bit, but I feel like you're not seeing it on the legislative level like you are with reptiles.
The other thing is they don't seem to mind that much if it's something that has game purposes. I don't think there were any centrochids native to west of the Cascades, were there?
In English?
I don't know how to English good.
Deer-like thing?
No. Like smallmouth
Bird-like
bass,
thing?
largemouth bass were
Oh
all
yeah,
introduced.
we stocked the
Yes. So
freaking
that's
lakes with them
an
on purpose.
intentional introduction of an invasive species that competes with natives.
Or like catfish, we stocked the lakes with catfish.
Right, for sporting purposes. And that accidentally introduced bullfrog tadpoles and rusty crayfish and all kinds of invasive things. And we were just like, meh, that kind of sucks, but it's fine. Because now we can have sporting use or whatever of the lakes. Because there weren't that many fish
Licenses.
post-glacial retreat in the Cascades. That's why they did that. You'd think they'd be happy with salmon, but no.
What we need to do is find a way to like economize the
Hunting of invasive snakes?
invasive snakes and invasive reptiles. We need to find a use for them so that profiting from it.
I mean, you heard the Ron St. Pierre interviews, right?
Uh-uh.
So he used to make a substantial amount of money just lassoing night anoles out of very particular subdivisions in Miami at night while they were sleeping and just selling them to wholesalers to go to pet stores.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is kind of cool. It's like I was going to say like Uber Eats, but you're not eating them. You're just like Ubering around. You're removing an invasive species. If you're removing an invasive species that's kind of still a shitty pet, but better than an iguana.
Well, and anoles can be made into food. I mean, obviously, like I'm not sure about catching them, how safe that would be, but to feed. But I'm sure there's a process that you could make them safe. And I don't know. I just think that if we could figure out a way to do that, I think that's like a happier compromise to me than banning fucking everything.
Right, and even if you ban everything, they're still out there anyway. But so like removal will never.
Ban them all, and you say, "Hey, you can't keep these animals anymore, so you've got to get rid of them by such and such a date." Aren't you encouraging like
people to let them
pet
go?
field to just let them go? Yeah, obviously, big breeders are going to be responsible because most breeders are responsible. So it's usually just the pet people that are usually the problem, in my opinion. So you're encouraging them to do that more. So are you compounding the problem by forcing that, you know? Because not everyday pet people they're not going to go on Morph Market and list their about to be illegal items.
Well, I guess what would happen, you know how Burms were like class 3 or whatever it was called? So they had to have pit tags in them, but you could keep them and breed them. So if they recovered them, so they would probably bump up boas and carpets and balls to class 3, pit tag them all, and then like accidentally decide to ban them 3 years later. So even if you release them, you would have had to have tagged them and identified yourself as a keeper. Yeah, right. None of it's great. There's a lot of ball pythons in Florida, so maybe this is speculation. But let me just say this. I was trained in such a way that in school that all invasives were bad and you should think they're bad and pet people are bad. That's how they train scientists. Like you need to do your impact statement.
I mean, that's where they're coming from.
Yes, your impact statement is every invasive is bad and nothing is good and it affects native fauna. But guess what, bitches? There's a paper that just came out not that long ago. The endangered American crocodile directly benefits from the presence of Burmese pythons in the Everglades. It's because the Burmese pythons eat all the fucking raccoons and possums that eat eggs.
Oh. You're welcome, crocodile.
I know, thank you. You know what? But it's like the Burmese pythons are a direct competitor with Florida panthers because they're both eating deer when they're at an adult stage. That's also an endangered species. So like Florida Fish and Wildlife Service has a mandate from Congress that it has to protect endangered species.
Right.
But which endangered species does it want to protect more? The crocodile or the panther? So if they remove all the berms, they're hurting one and helping the other. So everything's like a push and pull. The ecological systems are very complex with lots of trophic levels and impacts. And my point has always been that the Burmese python does not effectively matter. It doesn't change the Everglades to me. It just means we have another top predator. Oh well, there used to be red wolves. They're all dead. So we've just added a substitute wolf. Thank you. Good job. Like when people cry about coyotes. Oh, there's coyotes in my yard. Well, you killed all the wolves, so now you have coyotes. Congratulations. There's a niche that needs filled, and somebody filled it. If the Burmese python niche was already occupied by a top predator, the Burmese pythons would never have taken the niche. It was empty. Right. Yeah, so I don't really care if Burmese pythons eat a bunch of subsidized mesopredators. Suck it, everybody in Florida. I think it's fine.
Yeah, but what about all the, like, iguanas and anoles and everything that's everywhere?
Does it matter? I don't know, but it doesn't matter because you can't stop it.
Correct.
Pandora's box has been opened. So should you destroy every part of the exotics hobby to stop the next Cuban anole version? I don't know. I think the answer should be no, but obviously I'm biased. So my perception is not...
But you're also stating that the scientists that are responsible for like legislative initiatives are biased as well because they've been trained to be biased.
Right. Well, what people need to start thinking about is maybe changing the mandate of the fucking Endangered Species Act, which sounds crazy as someone who's very interested in biodiversity and keeping animals alive. Because it's honestly such a strong mandate that it's not going to work out well for anybody. The Fish and Wildlife Service already picks winners, right?
Right.
They don't have the money to fulfill the mandate Congress put on them. So they're like, who's cuddly?
Who's cute?
Who's cute today? Who do I want to put money towards that would make my mandate look good? And also, who do I want to villainize that will make the public maybe tell Congress to give me more funding next year? So picking a big scary reptile, yeah.
Oh, I'm actually writing a paper on this in my English class about how snakes are perceived, reptiles in general, but mine's about snakes, as inherently bad. And I've been doing some reading, and it's like the ancestors to the humans, the ones that didn't die from like poisonous snake bites and shit, were more keenly aware that snakes were bad and avoid snakes, or they could pick out snakes better in the wild because they had better vision and they were a little bit smarter, and so that genetic trait has been, passed down to us. So it's actually like a biological component to our brain to think that snakes are bad.
Can I tell you a secret?
Yeah.
There's counter papers to those papers.
Cool. I would like to find one to support my snakes are not bad.
Yeah, I mean, so the ones where like a monkey is really good at identifying a snake shape in the forest.
Correct.
Those ones are true. But if you do a baby human, it does not identify a snake as scary. And you do, I don't know, like image search studies in naive individuals, so young humans. They have no special feeling about the shape of a snake. Only monkeys do.
Interesting.
So there's evidence based on other species that maybe it's a basal trait, like a sensitivity to the shape of a snake. But because baby humans are not scared of snakes at all, I refute that claim that a snake is somehow magically...
Because the things that I was reading were saying that they are, not babies, but like young humans would pick them out as the bad thing in a picture.
I think it's not a snake, but the facial features of a predator.
That makes sense.
So vertical eyes...
I'm sure
teeth,
I'm sure
or like a mouth that seems big.
Cobras and shit, not a ball python.
Right. So if you did any sort of like a anonymized generic animal and made the eyes look not human in some way, they're just responding to not human, not necessarily snake, if that makes any sense. I don't know. Let me just tell you something about psychology. It's fake. It's the fakest science.
Fake news.
The only science that matters where it comes to humans is sociology, because that's an aggregate of humans, and many humans are predictable. One human, literally insane. No one can science it. It's just a guess. Well, I just wanted to warn you in advance. science is not 100%
Science is shit.
that snakes are... The identifications of snakes as a danger item is a inherently basal trait in our evolutionary history. Because I don't think it is. I have yet to meet a baby who looked at a snake and was like, ah.
Well, my very limited exposure to tiny humans and snakes is pretty quickly they realize they're badass and fun.
Right. I mean, you heard about that study where they convinced that baby to be scared of the color white?
That seems really mean, though.
Yeah, that one did not pass the iCook fucking committee rules. The point is extremely young, you can habituate a baby human to be frightened of literally whatever you want, even 6 months old. Like if the mother or father or caregiver is extremely startled by the color white, the child will be terrified of the color white.
Interesting.
You need to have test subjects, young human people who are truly naive to snakes. Like their parents have never reacted to a TV show. They've never saw a cartoon with a snake in it. And those humans...
snakes on a plane or anacondas.
Well, those baby humans have just like a neutral response to snakes. So is it really a basal trait if truly naive humans do not seem to give a shit one way or the other about a snake? No.
I would agree that it is not.
There are some studies that show that like human search like image in their brain is sort of more acutely good at seeing snake shapes in like
That's just one of the studies I read too.
a foliage situation. But we're also good at seeing red, yellow, like... So, like, is that evidence that we're good at seeing snakes or penises? Like, I don't... It's not like a clear one for one. It's just a different kind of shape. We're good at seeing that. I don't know. To me, people are making shit up. 100%. They're fitting data to fit their preconceptions about what they want to find, which is called a hypothesis, which is fine. But to me, there's enough counter evidence that it doesn't matter. Science is a process. It's not 100% at any time. You're always on some sort of learning curve of adjustments. And if you're talking about humans, like I already said, humans are so dumb and variable and full of... I don't even know what it is. I think like statistical significance in psychology is something like 65%. The rest of science is 95%. And like physics is 99%. So, fuck 'em. Anyway, is that enough about...
Yeah, that's enough. Can I go potty?
Yeah.
Okay, I drank a lot. I need to go pee.
I'm leaving that in.
Of course you are, you fucker. I'll be back.
All right, so Corey Woods tried, and I guess is going to succeed, I don't know, to add a new gene to the Morph Market pantheon of ball python genes. It is called I already forgot what it's called. It's a weird word. Eramosa. What is that word from? Do you know?
I don't.
Is it a place? Or...
I don't know. It's a good name, though.
Except I can't remember it, so it can't be that good.
Well, you're a little busy.
Busy.
In your brain area.
Anyway, I'll describe it. It looks like a fire, frankly. Or a fire-like thing. There's just like a layer of color missing from the snake. The head is browner, and the blacks are brighter, and the base coat is brighter. But he apparently owns no copies of any fire complex genes.
Apparently not.
What I thought was crazy. There's a trillion pictures, so he's put it in everything and his brother. This is all on the Morph Market community page if anybody wants to follow along. I think it looks pretty nice, even as an adult. He got in a pretty heated argument in the comments that...
Yeah, the comments were crazy.
that he did not believe that a dominant gene could have a homozygous form.
I love you.
I love you.
Oh my gosh, he's so cute. You better fucking leave that in.
We'll see. Well, anyway.
Oh, I love him. There's a river in Ontario, and it is a Silurian stratigraphic unit exposed along Niagara in Ontario and Western New York State.
All right. I guess he named it after the river, probably.
Probably, yeah. Looks really good. He describes it as a having a desert ghost type effect as an enhancer type gene, and he's not wrong. I feel like some people when they have a new gene, they like to oversell it, but I don't feel like he did that. It looks really good. It's definitely a thing, and I really enjoyed looking at all the combinations he's made. I think he is rolling it out at an appropriate time, and I feel like he's made a lot of combinations with it, and he has a lot to back it up, and he hasn't released anything, and I don't know. I mean, it's
I feel like he took too long, honestly, to release it.
That's entirely fair.
He has like
waited
hundreds of animals in the process.
Although I do have the question of why is it not in clown anywhere?
I don't think Corey Woods has clown.
Oh, okay.
Does he have clown?
No clown and no fire, so...
I mean, he has it in puzzle, is it?
I do like that it is in G-Stripe and that it popped out of G-Stripe. That kind of just made my heart tickle a little. But yeah, he does get into the comments. There was also a big fight about whether or not there was a super, and he's trying to explain to people, and they're like, oh, more needs to be done. He's had it for 14 years, and he's trying to say, I've bred Eramosa to Eramosa, and I have bred their babies, and I mean, he has multiple generations of snakes, obviously from all the pictures, and never has he had a clutch with every single one being Eramosa, and everybody's like, oh, you just haven't tried hard enough, and it's like, that was a head scratcher a little bit for me.
So it's possible that one of the animals he produced is a homozygous animal, but it's also possible all of the homozygotes have died, and they didn't even develop. They came out as slugs.
Oh, okay.
By definition, you must be able to make a homozygote, even of a dominant animal. It just can't not happen. So him fighting so hard is very strange. I don't know how to explain the behavior, but people can read his arguments. If he has never hit it, then it must be lethal, right? What other explanation is there for it?
I don't have one.
Okay.
But I'm also not good at the genetic, complicated analysis of...
Deep anal cyst from Jana coming up
deep
next
anal
week.
cyst coming in very, very cash with my genetics equaling my experience ball python breeding. I understood his argument completely, but I'm sure people who are coming from scientific backgrounds and fact completely are like, that's not possible. But for me and what I've experienced in the ball python world, I'm like, yep, okay.
Right, he might never have produced a homozygous animal, but that doesn't mean a homozygous animal cannot exist when two gametes meet up, but they just might all die. And that's why he hasn't made one. So that's why he assumes there is none. I just thought it was interesting because it was a well-worked gene. So you had a lot of variants to see. That's all.
It was really nice to be able to see it interact with everything. And it's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. I mean, it really is just as good as Desert Ghost to me. And it's co-dominant instead of recessive. I don't know. Do you think it's going to have like a stranger type if he releases it correctly? Do you think it'll end up being like stranger?
No, because stranger looks weirder. There's a lot of things that sort of look like this. This one looks nice, but there's a lot of things that sort of look like that. So,
for example, for those of us in the back,
just like fire and vanilla and desert ghost. And
do you think it'll end up being part of that complex? Because apparently he does not play in that complex.
In fire, if he can't make a viable super, then no, it's something else. Like desert isn't in that complex, but desert is something else. So it almost was like desert to me, but he obviously has females and eggs. So maybe it's a desert cousin that makes a viable female.
Interesting. Okay. Cool.
Someone should breed it to a fire though, whenever he releases it.
Yeah, or a vanilla or anything in that complex.
Yeah.
And see what happens. But I bet it. That's probably why they asked. What happens when you breed it to fire?
Because it looks like a very nice fire. It looks better as a fire as an adult to me.
For sure.
Yeah.
No, it's like a fire on steroids. So it'd be like the higher on the spectrum than fire even.
Right. But if it's not making a viable super, I wouldn't assume it's even in the complex. Because spiders all make viable supers. But that's just a guess.
Could desert end up having its own complex?
Yeah.
Because it's not like someone's going to breed it to desert to see if it's legalic, because that would be a waste of time for everyone.
100%. Yeah. There are only probably 10 places on a snake you could probably break, and it doesn't kill the snake, but gives you a color pattern variation.
Right.
You know? Maybe more. Maybe a lot more. I don't know. But we're probably only going to break certain ones multiple times. For some reason, Summer confirmed, I didn't even put this in the news, in an email that the minor wobbler complex was allelic with the major wobbler complex, even though they just said it wasn't. Did you see that?
Email to who?
It was in World of Ball Python. Somebody asked if blackhead and chocolate were allelic, and she said yes. I feel like they just said no 6 months ago or something.
I can neither confirm nor deny any of this.
Because a spot nose and a spider are not allelic. Or what combo was it that they decided was not allelic? It was something like that. Like, obviously
I know
a
we
different...
talked about it about 6 months ago, but I don't remember what it was.
I don't either. Somebody write in. Listen to all the podcasts again from the beginning.
Was it in our allelic one that we just did like 2 months ago?
No, it was before that. Remember, it was like...
Had to have been. Yeah, that'd have been like 6 months ago, right when we first started.
Yeah, the minor wobblers are like spot nose, chocolate, Wookie. And then the major wobblers are spiders, champagne, blackhead, hidden gene woma, and sable.
So is Bongo and Cypress, are those going to go in the minors?
I don't know yet. I don't remember all of the permutations. I think, if you remember, Jesse from Freedom Bureau thought Bongo was going to go in the spider complex. And then there was that random YouTube video that someone had a Cypress spider that made just Cypress spider babies. So like that's only right. 2 pairings or whatever, 2 people's opinions. So those ones would go in spider, and then the minor wobblers would be their own complex. But what does Summer know that we don't know? Obviously Summer knows something. So I thought Justin had confirmed in... I'll have to go back and check the show notes or something. Whichever episode it was, that those 2 complexes were not allelic.
No, I do remember. It was a Wookie something that was not allelic with something in the spider complex.
Well, Wookie and Spotnose were allelic.
But they're in the minor, right?
Right.
No, it was something from the major. Anyway, we'll look into it and get back to you. So join the harem if you're not there. You get all the good links from our notes.
Right. If you don't want to look at the show notes in the podcast or on YouTube, and you're in the harem, there's usually like all of the links linked below it relative to the podcast. But anyway, speaking of Justin, did you know that Chris Eaton tricked him into publicly admitting that he tests all of his snakes on intake?
Yeah, he's going to claim now that he's still the king shit of asking Nido questions. Which he might be. It might be. I mean, that's pretty fucking huge. Good job, Chris.
Good job.
Yeah, I think I fell out of my chair when I was listening to it. And then I may have like rewound it and re-listened to it because I was sure that I had like hallucinated. But yes, he says that he tests on intake.
Did you think Chris Eaton asked because we bothered him for 2 hours on our podcast? Do you think we tricked him?
I think it had nothing to do with us.
Dang it!
I'd like to pretend it did, so maybe I should just say yes. But
I know, you should give yourself some credit.
He was doing Nido discussions before, and then there was the huge thing with Billy, so it's relevant in the industry at the moment. And so I think this is the first time Justin's been interviewed since the Billy shenanigans, and so I think it was a pertinent and important question, and I'm just really thankful that he asked, and I'm really thankful that Justin answered. He didn't even pause or backpedal or sugarcoat. It was just straightforward. It was just a really good interview, and I feel like we got to have some really great questions asked, and we heard some things from Justin that maybe other people haven't asked, and I don't know if it's because they're friends and he just felt more comfortable, or if Chris was just dialed in with the right questions to ask, but I felt like it was a different side of Justin than we've seen in the past interviews. And it was just really cool that it came from his mouth and that he was like, this is going to be part of the industry. I don't know how or what. He's like, but I don't know. It just was really cool to hear him talk about it and be super honest about it and talk about how he, oh yeah, what's the doctor's name?
Dr.
Dr.
Stahl.
Stahl, and how he's in contact. It was good. It was very good for the industry. Good job, Justin. Good job, Chris. It was a great interview. I enjoyed it. There was lots of little takeaways from it, but that felt huge.
Do you think people will let you buy a snake from them now in chest on intake?
I freaking hope so. And if they say no, I can be like, listen to Chris Eaton's episode. Fucking Justin tests on intake. You gonna tell Justin fucking no?
I wonder if Justin tells them he's going to test on intake.
I'm sure he doesn't have to ask permission. I'm sure if Justin's like, I bought a snake from you, which all his snakes are probably 10K plus, I have a feeling no one's going to be like, no, I'm not going to refund you, Justin. I don't think he needs to ask because of who he is and the clout, and nobody wants to.
So you don't think he asks because he knows that they will back him up?
Yes.
I think that's probably true.
He has enough.
I hope. God.
His position's, he's king shit. So I think that he doesn't have to ask. I think he just does it, and he buys from like top end breeders. And I think if there was ever a problem, that they would make it right real quick. So he has the luxury of not having to ask permission. But I'm hoping that it seemed like it was, you know how we're trying, like the whole goal of the podcast is to normalize it in conversation, and that for the first time felt like a normalized conversation talking about Nido. It was just like thrown in there. No big deal. It was just real cash, and he just dropped it out there like it wasn't the first time he just like dropped that on an interview, you know? Like it was just, I don't know. I feel like cheering, and maybe it wasn't as big a deal as I feel like it is, but it was awesome. It was like an outer body experience. I was like, yes, Justin, thank you. I don't know if we said this before. We do have permission to say this, is that he allows testing on intake as long as you do it through Fishhead Labs.
Can I clarify that a little bit?
Sure.
He will let you use RAL, too.
You will?
Yeah. But I've gotten some implied preference for Fishhead Labs. But I 100% know people who buy from him and use RAL. And he does not tell them to go away, and he hates their sweet money bucks.
He does give a Nido, right? He does give a Nido guarantee, and that is phenomenal. And once again, Justin giving us a reason to only buy from Justin. Yay industry, yay, oh my God. Justin. It was fucking amazing. How did you feel? How did you feel when you heard that?
So I was like spoiled in advance. Is that weird? So I wasn't like
you were spoiled in advance.
Someone told me about it before I listened to it.
Who? Had they already listened to it? It was already live.
Yeah. No, I wasn't spoiled.
Okay.
Chris didn't call. No, no, he doesn't care about me. No, just someone had already listened to it. I saw the message. I was like, okay, that's cool.
Oh, in the harem.
Yeah. I was like, yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize you hadn't listened to it yet.
I've been busy. Confused.
Yeah, that's fair.
I was trying to listen to Corey's interview with MJ because I was excited, and then I got confused. And so I listened to like the interior 30 minutes, like the weirdest portion of it. So I know I need to go back, and because Corey Martin was on MJ, which we're not talking about because I didn't finish it at all.
I haven't gotten to it either. But
yeah, no, I was excited. I'm a little like confused and sleepy. So I think it's obviously good. The thing that I always go back to is Justin was like concerned that there was no like clear roadmap, or it could be a little fuzzy. And obviously Chris Eden is concerned too. He was talking about like, well, if I tested -5 times and it's positive when you get it, is it worth doing if everybody is kind of has it, or maybe everyone's snake is Schrodinger status potentially?
Yeah. And
what I'm saying, and I would, if Justin ever listens, or Chris Eaton ever listens again, I don't know, is if you have animals, no, not even animals, if you have biological systems, living beings, there is a degree of uncertainty that you must always be comfortable with to have them. This is true for the animals themselves. Like, you breed a pair of snakes, one dies, There's nothing wrong with it. It just had like a heart attack. You breed a pair of snakes, they don't like each other. She slugs out. She didn't use this baby batter. You breed a pair of snakes, all the babies come out kinked. There's a degree of uncertainty.
Correct.
So there's also a degree of uncertainty about literally every virus, bacteria, amoeba, prion, whatever that could happen to a living thing. Cancer. There's a heritable bone cancer in boas that we're just finding out about. And we're like, oh, great. Isn't that special? The degree of uncertainty that we have right now does not preclude the prevention methods that we know are best. That's enough for me, and that should be enough for everybody in the world. You're never going to get a full roadmap with full understanding of why some animals have disease progression and some animals never displayed symptoms ever. We're never going to know all that information. We can barely sort out herpes in humans. Look at all those ball sacks with herpes on it.
Yeah, that plays back to the discussion we had about saying there's no vertical transmission and not asterisking it with as far as we have studied and know. It's that same. I mean, like you do the best you can with the information you have right now, and the best that we can do is what he is doing already is testing on intake and encouraging others to do that as well. And so, yeah, I could have a snake that was negative, and I'm telling you it's negative, and I'm sending it to your collection, but I'm still asking you to protect yourself and test on intake. Even when I sell a snake to Jessica, or when she sells a snake to me, we both test on intake. So I hear what he's saying, and yes, it would be nice if it was very black and white. That would make it so much better for everyone, but it's not. And so he's still doing the right thing, testing on intake. And
yeah, this isn't a criticism of Justin. It's just I've heard this from a lot of other people where they get really spun up by the uncertainty, correct. And I'm like,
no, I knew what you meant. I'm not as a criticism.
Girl, don't get spun up by the uncertainty, because that is not. This is 80-20 rule time. We know 80% of what we need to know. The 20% we can work on, maybe get it down to 10%.
Correct. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say is we don't know, and we just do the best you can with the information that you have. So if you've tested and you're doing what you're supposed to do, and shit still happens, But you've done what you can do.
Right. And that's all that really matters, is trying your best. Gold star for everybody.
Yeah. Huge gold star. I mean, that was fucking cool. Fucking cool.
Right. Yeah. So don't sweat it, Justin. It's okay. It's fine.
It's alright. You got it, dude.
Mm-hmm. He doesn't need any pep talks from us.
No, he doesn't care. He's definitely not listening and has.
I don't know if this is a world first, Jana, but I think it is. Bradbo hit the sunset lavender. What do you think?
It is gorgeous, but I need to see it in about a year. Okay. And do you think it has cinnamon?
Yes.
Yes,
I'm
I think
100% guessing, though. I feel like I...
Totally. Yeah, I mean, there's no way to actually know because we don't know what that would look like yet. But my guess is also that there is cinnamon in that.
I'd like to remind everybody that many episodes ago, I made a comment that Miguel Garcia's assumption that a albino sunset or a lavender albino sunset would make a red ball python, which was based on Brian Barczyk's belief, is not correct.
No.
It's still an orange snake, which is a great looking snake. But there's no red in the ball python. Even the reddiest looking one are red because it's like
brownie
poop color on orange.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry, there isn't a red ball python unless you're talking about the one that was dyed. Or photoshopped.
Ooh. Yeah, it's still beautiful. It's just like the sunset gene is very strange. So some people like fucking really hate it and really love it, and people are like, you need to put this in it and that in it to like find its true potential.
With the sunset project, the problem for me is that it's such a people who love it. It's such a sought after project that every sunset is being bred, and some of them look like absolute dog shit.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them are gorgeous. And so I have a real hard time with the project because there's just, it's not financially or business sound to not breed the dog shit ones. And so no one is line breeding it correctly, and that really pisses me off because the ones that look like dog shit are not like they're ruining it. They're ruining it for me because there are some really beautiful sunsets, and those ones I fucking love. But to me, it's like an 80-20 right now of good versus the brown dog shit. And so
I don't think I've ever seen an adult that I thought looked nice. Let me be honest. I've seen babies that were nice and babies that were terrible, but I don't think I've ever seen an adult that yet. Nobody showed a lot of these combos yet because they're new.
Say, I haven't seen very many adults. It's just talking about just the babies, like in the clutch, freshly shed. Some of them are just beautiful. I'm talking about straight, nothing else in them. Some of them are real beautiful examples, and the other ones look like a dirty pastel. A pastel at 1,000 grams, and they just look like ass. And so it's hard for me to get behind a project with such a discrepancy in quality. And it doesn't matter what the parents look like. In my perception and limited experience, it seems like they just throw the gross shit and the good shit for now because nobody's line breeding them. But that really bothers me. But these are phenomenal. And then the Sunset Pied, that's gorgeous.
Is that a world's first? I didn't think it was. I think someone hit it last year. Am I making that up?
Heard of it or seen it. If somebody hit it, it would have been in the last year. Because I really looked into the project about a year ago, and there was not a Sunset Pied at that time. So it definitely, in the last year, someone else could have hit it. But this is the first time I'm seeing it. And I really heavily looked into the project. And it, like I said, the discrepancy was not for me.
Suck it, Leviathan snakes.
I actually really like them.
I do too. I love their baby.
Their baby is so cute. I love his post about him like pulling his whole back out of the rack. Oh, my God, such.
They should have like 10 more kids. It'll work out.
Yeah, they need to have a million and just have like one of those, big buses like you have.
Yeah, we'll go get one of those.
And he like goes to all the shows. He's like a pocket baby. I'm like, oh my gosh. I adore them. They just seem like really fun people.
Maybe they'll be your friend one day, Jana.
Maybe.
If you pretend to like
when
Sunset.
The world ever finds out that I exist. It's possible.
One day. I don't have a picture because I didn't feel like screenshotting it, but Miguel hit a black pastel hypo puzzle. Did you see that?
I looked it up, and it was way sexier than the straight black pastel puzzle.
Isn't it weird that puzzle steals a lot of black pastel thunder? Isn't that crazy?
The black pastel puzzle was kind of like, meh.
Like it doesn't allow it to be like
yeah, no, but the hypo
wide.
Brought it back.
Right, but it's still not as wide. Like you would think black pastel would force it to be wider towers and wider puzzle pieces. It does not. It's just a color switch.
Correct.
Like Mojave puzzles are the best ever. Everybody look them up.
Somebody produced a cinnamon puzzle, and that was the shit. It was really good, which I normally love black pastel over cinnamon every time. But somebody bought a cinnamon puzzle in our like women's group. Did you see that last year?
I've seen cinnamon puzzles that look better than that black pastel puzzle. I think it's a question of like if the parents were wider saddles, busier, or blade type saddles. I think that's what's happening here. And also Hypo is a reducer, so it might be Hypo's fault also. But a cinnamon puzzle Hypo would probably look very similar to this because Hypo is a reducer. I don't know. It's all very strange. I'm so confused.
It's very sexy, and you need to sell your Desert Goat Pieds and get into puzzle, please. That was a sound. You better leave that in. That was her looking at me like, fuck right off.
I don't make any collection decisions while in the middle of moving. So
that's totally fair.
I don't know what the hell's going on. So Jana doesn't know anything about salamanders. Well, I'm going to slap her right across the face with one. Slap.
A little cock slap right across the cheek.
This is crazy. Do you know what a seal salamander is?
Nope.
No. So
I know where like the mud salamanders around here are. That's it.
Do you have mud salamanders around here?
Yeah, I have them in my backyard. And they have them at the lakes and stuff when we go fishing. When we were kids, we used to catch them all the time.
Their species name is mud salamander?
No, that's what we called them.
Oh, God, you're stressing me out. There's a different animal.
No, this is like trailer trash, hicklingo, sister. I don't know their genus. They probably aren't even salamanders. They're probably like newts or something.
You do have both salamanders and newts here, but there's another kind of salamander. In fact, is called a mud salamander, like its official common name.
That's what I thought they were called. That's
Okay.
what my daddy
All
told
right,
me they were called. Hang on, I'm looking it up.
Yeah, look it up. What are all the...
Talk about your other salamander.
My
okay?
point
'Cause,
was they finally did a DNA analysis on Desmognathus, which is the salamander species that lived in West Virginia, where I'm from. And Quadrimaculatus got split up. It had some cryptic species in it. And the West Virginia one is now Desmognathus. So I have a problem. So if you're from Huntington or Charleston, you will say the word as canal. But if you were from somewhere else, you would say Kanawha. So I don't actually know if the scientific name takes in white trash lingo or not. Please tell me. But so it's named after the river Kanawha, pronounced by locals Kanaw. As I get a biscuit from Tudor Biscuits. Not that into salamanders as a general rule, but I was just impressed that we got a new species in the old WV. And these ones are really easy to find, so you find them constantly.
Okay, well, I looked it up. You ready?
Okay, what is the species you thought you were looking at?
Larch mountain salamanders.
Larch?
Larch mountain salamanders. Because I looked up mud salamanders as well, and they're red.
Yeah, I told you they live in the east.
Yeah, they do. So these are northwestern salamanders.
Was that the one that you think that you saw?
These are the ones that I've been seeing my whole life. They're brown.
Okay.
We just as a kid,
Have you ever seen a tiger salamander? That's your most charismatic megafauna, amphibian-wise.
Nope, never seen one. Kind of looks like a tegu.
People buy them as pets outside of their range because they're that big and cool looking.
Yeah, the northwestern salamander. We just call them mud salamanders because they look like mud. That's what our daddy told us they were called. So there. I didn't know a mud salamander was actually red. That's a stupid name for a red salamander.
Sorry. There are very cool salamander species that are here, that are only here. So if somebody was really into salamanders, they would come here and they would go to Appalachia, Japan, and China, basically. Because that's some of the highest diversity of salamander species is in these particular areas because it's wet enough. And there's, southern Appalachia was a refugium from the glacial period. So you actually have more salamanders in southern Appalachia than northern Appalachia. But you know how that goes. Jana already knows.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I have a little insert before we talk about your Carlos pairings. So, little backstory. Mesa Terra, Holly, who I vend with, who makes reptile jewelry, bought some corn snakes from Jessica wholesale that I was going to do, but her kids are really into snakes and were wanting to try out selling baby snakes and taking care of baby snakes, so Jessica let her buy them instead, and I was up at their house this weekend holding baby corn snakes, and I may have fallen in love with fucking corn snakes. Oh my gosh, they were so cool. And the candy cane tessera, bam!
Right in your heart?
Right in my heart. I wanted to take him home.
That's for sale inventory, Jana. Come on.
What pair produced that one?
Oh, it was Ron Burgundy.
Sexy Ron Burgundy.
Works 60% of the time, every time. And Sapphire. So 2 Miami tesseras that just happened to be het A-mail. Well, I'm glad you like corn snakes finally. Thank God.
And I was actually able to hold them and enjoy them. And one of them...
I am full of corn snakes that can be held and enjoyed. Where have you been?
I came over and held the corn snake. Remember, it was a disaster. And he was jumping out of my hands.
Which
and I was
one? Oh, yeah. Well, I have millions of them. I don't play with them enough that everybody is super nice.
It was scary. I think maybe because I've successfully finally kept garters alive and handled them, that I'm more comfortable with teeny tiny snakes. And so it was some experience there that made it so I could enjoy them. But one of them, so funny, it was super spicy, and I was holding him, and he opened his mouth as wide as it would go and pancaked his mouth all the way open.
He was trying to defeat you. Did you get defeated?
Flattened top and bottom, flat as a piece of paper, onto my hand, and was trying to swallow my hand. And it was the cutest,
Did you
Most
die?
awesomest moment.
Because he tried.
I did die. I died of joy. And I was like, oh my gosh, I want you too. And then also,
Did you
like,
buy one?
I didn't buy one.
Okay.
No, I was gonna talk to you about it and see
I mean,
what
you can
got
buy
going
one
on.
from her if you want. They're for sale. I want you to get into corn snakes, but I feel like you have to complete a Kiki male or something that's the equivalent, and then get at least another male or 2 female red-sided, and then get into corn snakes. Because then you'll be like,
For sure. No, but see, I also was able to like hold a whole bunch of them and see all like the different patterns and the morphs, and she was explaining them to me in more like layman's terms. Because you always use the fancy words. You don't use the like candy cane and peppermint and like that shit. Which
yes,
apparently
I do. I don't know what
that.
you're talking about.
I needed to be called that kind of stuff, and it made my heart giggle. I don't know. And then they were so cute, and I was just like, I cannot be falling in love with a corn snake. But the masks. I know you're like big into that, and before I was just like, whatever, who cares? I didn't even care. Like, I did not understand it. Fucking cool.
Are you talking about sun-kissed or masks?
I have no idea what you just said.
Are you talking
But
about sun-kissed or masks?
I was talking about the ones that have like the gray faces with all the like echoey.
Okay, so those are sun-kissed, but they're either 1 copy of mask or 2 copies of mask. So the speckles come from the mask, but when they're like a gray head with like an arrow, that's just sun-kissed. But you need sun-kissed in there too to make spots.
No, I'm talking about the ones with spots.
Right, it's both. So it's not
And
just
they were like-
mask. It's sun-kissed
Oh, it's
and
both.
mask.
Do that.
Right.
Okay.
If it was just mask, it would look like a sort of a normal with a split head stamp.
Yeah, so you had one in there that was labeled mask, and we were really confused because it didn't have the cool, like, blah, 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 blah. And she was like, wait, why is that a mask and this one's not? We were really confused.
She mostly has sun-kissed masks and sun-kissed super masks. She has 1 just mask.
Yeah, that one I held, and I was like, this doesn't look like it has a mask. The sun-kissed super masks were like...
Right, they have like a kaleidoscope of stars of circles on their heads.
So cool!
Why didn't you think that was cool like 2 years ago? Where have you been?
I don't know! Apparently I just needed to sit on the ground and hold 50 snakes.
Yeah, corn snakes are... I know everybody takes a shit on corn snakes, but they're actually like, extremely cool. Because there's a lot of variation. She just got a couple kinds. Just a couple kinds.
That was just a couple kinds.
Right, there are
That was orgasmic.
50,
Jessica.
40, 100 more kinds.
I could have sat in there all day and just held all the snakes
Right.
and just looked
Good.
at their cool
I'm
patterns.
glad you...
Although
come
I
to the
don't
dark
really
side.
care for the gray ones. I know that's a big thing for you and you like them, but I didn't. What are those?
Miamis and Miami Tesseras? Is that what you mean? Oh, the cinders.
Cinders.
So they don't look like a lot because they're gray and a slightly darker shade of gray, right?
Yeah.
And stripy. So that appeals to people different amounts. And I can see how that would not appeal to most people, but you want like a silver snake, a yellow snake, a pink snake, purple snake, okiti, red, like you just want one of each.
Yeah, no, I know you
That's what
gotta,
I don't
you
need a
gotta catch
ton
them all.
of gray snakes, but I'll take
Yeah, but that was not my flavor. I liked the Miami or the candy cane tessera, and I liked the super masks. What was the other word I'm looking for?
sun-kissed. Sun-kissed is the most
Sun-kissed.
important part of that. So when you were like, I like the mask, I'm like, are you asleep?
No,
You
the
saw-
regular mask.
Did you
was
look at my
dumb.
reel? It has a honey that's super mask. So honey is sun-kissed and caramel. And I know you don't like yellow, but it has the most intense super mask head I've ever seen. It looks like...
Who? What? Where?
You know the cobra guppy morph? No.
Nope.
It looks like green and yellow with little black dots all over it. That sort of tail on a male guppy? No. I
Yes.
thought you knew guppy
Yes.
morphs.
Yes, I do know. I
Okay.
don't know guppy morphs, but I have guppies and
All
I
right.
breed guppies.
So
Right
there's
now.
a kind of guppy tail that is green and yellow with little black circles and dots. And it looks...
Yeah, that's my favorite one. It
Right.
looks-
And it's, again, you can get it in different colors, but like the pattern is...
Yeah, I have some that are like peacock colored, like the shimmers, like blue and green.
Right. And you can put dots on it. His head looks like that kind of guppy's tail, which is ironic because it's like snake.
Whose head?
The reel I posted, not this today, but yesterday or 2 days ago. He was made by JT from Silent Hill Reptiles, from Walter Smith stock, and that version of a super mask from that line makes the tightest little speckles of circle head stamp in the world.
Okay, so the color of this snake sucks ass for me, but his
It's so weird.
pattern is so gorgeous.
So
And it's
he is
matched.
a honey. So the pattern is because of Sunkissed. The color is because of caramel. The aberrancy in the head and the lack of pattern on the belly is because of Supermask.
So I like.
So you could have that in not
Red
yellow version. You could have a
yes.
sun-kissed. Right. Okay, good. I'm glad we've cleared things up.
But yes, I have to get another trio of red-sided, and I have to get a male for my.
So I was thinking about buying Justin's Black Pastel Mojave Wookie Yellow Belly Clown.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't buy it because I'm moving. But I probably would have bought it later. It looks really nice, right? I obviously love Justin's penis, so everybody leave me alone. But I saw the person who bought it, and they posted updated pictures on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
It looked very different. I want to say I was a little bit disappointed.
That sucks.
So it turned yellow and
Ew.
creamy. You know, it was like gray with yellow lines.
Mm-hmm.
It was not that anymore. It was solidly yellow, tan, creamy colored with like orangey lines. So the Wookie Mojave combos don't stay that like stark gray with contrasted points. They turn yellowish.
I wonder what would happen if you added in GHI to that, though. Would it keep it?
Well, we know what happens because the sister turned brown too. And she had GHI in her.
Oh.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
Womp womp womp.
You might have to put Xanthic in it or something. That was what was like the most appealing to me. I like that it was like a busy clown. It's still appealing. No, don't get me wrong. But like the like gray with red circles or gray with yellow cursive handwriting. That was, I don't know what you think, but that felt like what I was into. I like gray snakes. I'm like into that. I was just surprised how yellow he had become.
Okay. Do you want to talk about your Carlos pairings?
Carol.
What?
This is the queen of corn snakes here, not the Carlos down at the taqueria. Come on.
Apparently I need glasses.
So I sent Jana just Carol's webpage. And it's not even news.
Carol.
Right. She put up her pairings with a beautiful photograph gallery. Everybody needs to go home and look at it. Bring it up on your phone. lowbellyreptiles.com. So she finally put up her pairings a couple weeks ago. So now you can see it really
a
big.
picture of one. Is it the female that she's showing, or was there a second?
Well, if you click it, you'll get two pictures.
Go ahead.
So do you like Miami's yet?
Miami Okeetees?
Just Miami's. Just any Miami. Red on gray.
I like Miami Okeetees with the really thick black.
But not just regular red on gray either.
No. I only like it when it's the really thick outlines.
You're insane.
Like yours.
Even after looking at those pictures, you still don't like.
Okay, this is a sexy, really sexy snake. This one right here is a sexy snake. But the ones you have that have the really delicious thick borders.
I know that looks better, but isn't that also nice?
It's nice, but it's not nice like yours. Yours are really.
Well, she
really
has
sexy.
more. She has Okeetee thicker border ones, but a lot of times putting Okeetee in it, you accidentally introduce yellow, and it takes a long time to get it back out, and you lose border as you do that. So there's like a battle between like base color and border size. So her best animal, which
Well,
is
I
the
like the
one that
Aztec
looks
Miami.
Well, that doesn't have big borders.
No, I don't, but it's got cool transparency.
Yeah, it's nice. I'm saying they're all nice, and you should start to get an eye for how nice they are.
Okay,
Because they're nice in different ways, for different reasons.
But I like candy cane a lot. Do you have candy cane in your collection, or that was an accident? Educate me on candy cane, because I looked up AML, and then I also like read an article about how all candy canes are AMLs, but all AMLs are not candy canes, because it has to have that like real white background.
Right. A candy cane is just a Miami with the AML gene. So the background beats white because the Miami's been selectively bred to just be gray. So when you take away the gray, all you have left is white. And maybe a little bit of...
more sense than what I was reading. Thank you for clarifying that. And then what's making this stripe?
Tessera? Or on the mom or the male or the female?
The snake I'm showing you in my screen.
There's two snakes on the screen. They're both AML.
That's why I'm confused. I thought there was like one snake and half of it was striped.
Oh, it's a breeding pair.
Okay, so it's just the tessera. There's not two genes that stripe.
Well, stripes.
I've never heard of that one.
What, this gene stripe?
I've never heard of that. Oh, I don't know how we're friends. How do you put up with me?
I don't know. I don't know how you don't like accidentally pick up stuff just being on the internet. You know what I mean? Like, I don't keep any leopard geckos, but I just know leopard gecko stuff. Just on accident. You just have to hang out with more weirdos. So that is what I would call a Miami Okatee still, but it's really weirdly faded. Do you see how it looks sort of hypo-ish? But it's
white, not gray.
Right. There's something cleaning it up, and that could just be her 5th or 6th generation of selective breeding now. That's her, like, flagship animal. But it could be another hypo type, not hypo type A.
The one in her label.
What?
Her logo has that snake on it.
Does it? I thought it was one of the babies. I'm pretty sure that's just another baby, not that particular animal.
No, I just mean that morph.
It's all Miami. She mostly breeds Miami.
Well, then look at how sexy this one is.
Yeah, it's a Miami. That
No,
one,
it's not. It's white.
What? It's selective breeding. That's like a really good Miami. You too can go get just like an okay Miami and achieve that with selective breeding. That's the whole like appeal of
Horn snakes.
Yeah.
Or selective breeding in general.
Yeah, any selective breeding. You could make something that's so fucking fire without spending a lot of money or sucking somebody's dick to get the morph, and then by the time
someone's dick to get in line to buy their $10,000.
Right. So boas, carpet pythons, blood pythons, corn snakes, king snakes, they all thrive off of effort. Carol has put in a lot of effort, and her snakes are fucking fire. Her normal Miamis that meet her standards for niceness can go to $400. They're still a normal corn snake, though, technically. Right? That's why it's fun, you know? So a lot of my animals are from
Be
Carol.
nice. I'm just learning about fun, okay?
I know, I'm trying to get you.
Discovered fun, okay? So don't shit on me.
No, I'm not trying to shit on you. I'm trying to
here.
convince you that it's very satisfying, potentially, in a different way that's complementary to morph breeding. But yeah, so any of those animals, even from her, could be het amel. So they would make both candy canes and Miamis in any random clutch, because those are common things to be smushed together. I don't know if you watched the video or not, but we'll just be quick. Sarah Moore may have hit Goldens in one of her recent clutches. She wasn't like sure. I just figured I would announce it since we've talked about Goldens before. Congratulations.
I haven't watched it.
If they are indeed Goldens.
How will she know if they're Goldens?
They just look a little different when they get older. She's going to have to grow them up and probably even do test breeding. Kitty, you're here. Oh my god. Then this is the craziest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. Somebody hybridized a Chinese beauty snake and a corn snake and somehow got a viable baby out of it.
Oh, I must have missed that in the show notes. Hang on.
Keep going. Keep scrolling. A laughing.
Oh, that's the weird thing in the egg?
Yeah, and then the corn snake and the rat snake breeding below it, and then the baby crawling out. Whoa. This was all on Facebook, and I didn't even think this was physically possible. Think of how many millions of years divide Asian rat snakes from North American rat snakes, because snakes weren't crossing the Bering Strait. Everybody at home. So, when was the last time they were connected?
Never.
Pangea time? I don't fucking know. So somehow the chromosome number is close enough that the gametes got together and made something vaguely coherently an animal. It's wild. Unless it's like...
really cool.
Yeah, we'll see how it grows if it does like an ontogenetic color change type of thing. But I just wanted to report the most insane hybrid I've seen this week.
And there was only one baby?
Yeah, I think there was like a couple slugs and one viable egg, so one baby. was on the Corn Snakes on Facebook group. And I don't have a collection update. I just have a fun fact. Phase 22 does indeed burn your skin.
Ooh, that feels like that has a bigger story.
Well, one of them broke just in the box they were in and leaked, and I touched it. And I was only touching it for like a little bit, and I couldn't, and it was burning immediately. And then when I washed it, I couldn't get it off very well. So, Best Dressed Ball's advice to double bag Phase 22s, 100% valid. Even though it says in the packaging, like, not non-toxic. Okay. Well, it burns.
And you don't want that on your $5,000 snake.
Right. So, I'll repeat it here again. 100%. Yes, ship with Phase 22s. They're awesome and reusable. But in the case of a accidental break, put them in some sort of extra bag when you ship with them. Because they 100% burn. And they stick to you because they're like sticky inside.
Ouch.
That's all.
Okay. Well, are we going to get a Jessica Saga update?
Are we?
I'm a little stingy with the updates.
Because I don't even know what's happening until it's already happened. And then I'm like, that was depressing. I don't want to think about it anymore. But
Okay, well, we're going to fully depress you right now.
Boom.
Just get it all out.
This house is under contract again. It's been inspected again. We've gotten through
For the third time, people.
I didn't clean the
No
house
fault
when
against-
they came here. By the way, I'm just like, I ain't doing shit.
When they came to look at it?
When they came to like do the inspection. Because they were people that had already looked at it.
You don't have to fight.
And then Alex got his Kindle Fire, and when they all pulled up and just started coming outside and just taking pictures of their cars. And he was being like, this is a nice car. And he's like, these are nice wheels. Click. That's a nice emblem. Dodge emblem. Click. Because they were like nice new cars. He's really into cars. But he was just talking up their cars. And the real estate agent was like, I think he's going to buy my car. I think he's going to give me an offer. And I'm like, will trade you any number of Hot Wheels for your fucking like Dodge Ram or whatever it was. So Alex was very charming. Good job, Alex. And then we hid in the snake shack for their inspection. So we will attempt to move at the end of this week, but since Chris broke our vehicle, our only vehicle that's not of Dodge Viper.
Which is a sexy, sexy car. In case
Right, but you can't put two humans,
Three
two
humans.
dogs, and I was going to say 2 humans and a kid because they're separate species.
Yeah, you can't even put 3 humans in it.
All of the boas, all of the corn snakes.
Wait.
And my beautiful
enclosures too, or did you already send the enclosures?
So I didn't send the enclosures because
Is that
only
going
the
to
Outback
Louisiana?
was going. There's no U-Hauls on the West Coast, remember? So he had to drive to Oklahoma anyway just to get a U-Haul. So that's why it's fine. He took the
Why
ball.
did he have to get a U-Haul in Oklahoma?
Because there's none on the West Coast
What do you mean there's none on the West Coast?
that are over 15 feet. Everyone moves away from the West Coast and doesn't come back.
Oh, can't you like order them or something?
No. With budget you can, but then it's like $6,000. If
cool.
he drove to Oklahoma, picked it up himself, and paid for all the extra gas and mileage, it was like $2,000.
So
So it was cheaper for him to do, and he could take the ball pythons anyway, right? Keep them separate.
you're mid buying a house there, but they're letting you rent it because they've already moved out?
Right, it was already a rental to begin with. It was a like Air Force crash pad for like training family. So it was already empty. So we were just like, hey, since the last people fucked up, can we just rent it for a month? And they're like, sure.
Because you're technically under contract with them currently.
Yeah, so we just filed an extension until this house closes again. Cool. So it's all fine. It all works out.
I saw pictures. You finally sent me that link, and it's perfect. Like, you were having trouble finding anything where the snakes were going to fit, and this is like...
Isn't it perfect, Jana?
It has a big-ass garage in the backyard.
It's 1/3 of an acre. The white trash in me is squirming.
Okay.
Crying out.
It may not be a farm.
I want a farm.
But at least it's not 1,000 square feet with a 1-car garage, which is what you were looking at.
Right, we were going to have to build a building onto that. other
Yeah.
house. Yeah, we don't have to build any building except for bring a rat shed. Because the snake building is, I don't know, 1,200 square feet, 1,000 square feet or something. Something like that.
You can't just divide it up into rooms and make one of the garage doors a separate
Oh yeah,
rat
so I'll probably split it
building.
in half and do adult boas and corn snakes on one side and ball pythons on the other side, babies in the house. But I want a separate rat shed, not
Okay.
attached.
Okay.
These rats are gross.
They are gross. Fuck. Ugh.
I might try ASFs in there, but I just don't want to take up a lot of floor space for rodents that is more valuable for snakes. The other thing I discovered is you can actually pick up from the big cheese live.
Cool.
So I could hypothetically not produce my own, but just drive down there once a month or once every 3 weeks and buy a lot of live weans for like the ball pythons. And then buy your frozen and then just drive back. And then just hold on to the weans as they get bigger.
Right.
Yeah, or something like that. I could still run some of my own, but I wouldn't have to run as many. Because obviously the bows don't give a shit. They'll eat whatever. But there's no producers in...
On half an acre, can you run like chicks and bunnies?
It's really more like a third of an acre. I don't know if you remember my
Oh,
deficit.
sorry. To like 5 minutes ago. Yeah, I forgot. Sorry.
I can probably run like... You can run chickens on nothing of an acre because they could be in a coop full time. I don't know what the ordinances are for chickens.
It's Oklahoma. Why would they be anti-chicken?
Because it's within the city limits.
It's Oklahoma.
Listen, my man. Listen. We were looking at a town north, and they had an ordinance where you could not keep more than one rat. Remember that? More than one rodent as a pet. You had to go before city council and ask for permission.
But
remember that?
even
2
rodents
guinea pigs. Unacceptable.
but like most of those need a
Yes.
companion or they get super depressed.
Right. Go to city council. But you can't get them first. You have to ask permission, and then they will determine the cost of your fee based on how many rodents you think you're going to have for the yearly annual rodent keeping fee.
You can't just keep one rodent. It will die of depression.
This fucking city of
like literally just
Mangum can fuck off. I was like, this is the dumbest law I've ever heard.
Anybody, like not even or anything, just pet rodents need a friend.
Right. I think they were like, well, if we do one, then they can't breed, like escape and breed. But if it's 2, it could be 2. But what they should have done is just like 5. You can have a couple guinea pigs or a couple
Or they could have done
male
like
rats.
you can have 5, but they have to be the same gender or something.
Right.
But literally, almost every type of rodent needs a friend.
Not in Mangum, they don't. According to
Like literally, the only exception is like a male mouse. But most people try to put them with like female ASFs. Because otherwise, they need a lot of loving.
yeah, I don't. It was a really dumb law. I'm saying, I think there's like some sort of hen law in Altus where you can have hens but not roosters, but no more than 6 per whatever. I probably won't even bother. I'll probably just get quail and have run quail.
Like frozen, or you'll run live quail.
Yeah, that's fun. I haven't tried quail yet. I fucking love button quail. They're really cute.
They are really cute. I thought about having button quail just because of their cuteness.
Yeah, people keep them like hamsters. Like that's how small they are. You can keep them in, a guinea pig cage in your house.
Yeah.
I would not treat them like a guinea pig. They would get fed to corn snakes as babies, for sure. And the Japanese rat snakes are super bird. They're into birds bad. Like I have to scent with bird parts to get them to eat pinkies to start. So if they had a baby quail instead, or a baby quail head, that would be better.
Way better.
Yeah, the corn snakes. I finally got pissed off about it, and I broke out the anole juice, which was $70 or something insane, and that didn't even work. So
Wait, so did you get rid of that male?
what
Or is that
male?
John Burgundy's who's producing the picky
Ron
eaters?
Burgundy.
What did I say?
Oh, she's drunk now, ladies and gentlemen. We've achieved it. We're somewhere special now. All right, keep going with John.
You're welcome. Old Johnny, I mean Ronnie. Is he the one that's producing picky eaters? Because I thought you narrowed it down to the
That's
male.
what I think, right?
But is it Ron Burgundy?
Yes.
Oh. But he's a good one, isn't he? Other than the pickiness.
Yeah, I mean, he's my reddest
He's gorgeous.
male. You know what I mean? Like, the most saturated red.
Can you try to keep one of his saturated male sons that's not a picky eater to try to replace him with?
Yeah, of
Or
course.
do you think it would still genetically produce pickiness?
So it's the same way with anything else. You have to, like... So I assign... I'm sure you do it something like this.
Right,
You do, like,
backstory.
question marks on all the ones you're like, maybe these are nice, or whatever. Maybe I'll keep them. But corn things change a lot, like, sort of like how ball pythons do, but they change for the better instead of the worse. Ball pythons. So sometimes you can open a snake up and be, like, surprised, and you're like, ooh, gotta put a question mark on that one. Since I have a lot of almost the same looking animals to choose from, I'm just going to keep holdbacks that were ones that ate, right? So,
Right, for
yeah,
sure.
of course. And that's what most people do. Since a lot of my animals came from Carol and Mystic Exotics, which is Heather, and JT at Silent Hill, I can't keep too much back because they're all pretty closely related. So I'm still thinking about, like, holding back just daughters and buying in a different father for next
that
year.
makes sense. Okay.
Just to keep the DNA flowing, the juice is flowing. Juice is good and flowing. And, God, Jana, it's like August now. I gotta move, right? I gotta set up snakes. I gotta get a mini split in. But then I need to buy like $10,000 worth of snakes in like a month. Right?
One, it's like the
2
part of
months?
the season where you go, oh shit, I gotta buy mail.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I
We did
have...
this last year, and we got to the end of the rope, and we were like, there is nothing. And we both ended up with a spot-nosed yellow belly het instead of a visual.
Yeah. So I have
Although
to
I don't think
pick...
we'll have that big of a problem this year because I think there's more inventory because it's a slower
Oh my
market.
god, there totally is. It's crazy. But so I need like a new Desert Ghost male that's breedable this year. I need a Desert Ghost het pied male for next year. I need a Desert Ghost het clown male for next year. And I need a good clown male that's just clown for next year. All bought nowish. And that's just in ball pythons. So I need like a new Miami male for Miamis. I prefer like a better Miami Okatee male than the one I currently have because he's kind of yellow and not doing that great. Fuck me. And I need a ton of boas. Like a kind of a crazy amount again. Like I need a tester male for those unknown albinos. And I have, with quarantine time, I'm already gonna suck ass with like pushing it in terms of getting ready. Obviously, like the babies that are need to breed next year for ball pythons, I can sort of wait till over the winter. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Oh, am I supposed to know? Wait, that's my job?
I think
People in the back, do you know?
you should just buy that Krypton het DG het G-stripe because it's not that expensive and it's not
One
that
from
cool.
Fireball?
No.
Oh, the
Krypton.
one I sent you that was like 2,000?
Yeah, it's 2,500 and it's last year's baby. I think that one's fine, right? It's not perfect, but it's older now. It could go this year, and it doesn't destroy all of your money.
Yeah.
You could easily make that back up on the next show.
Well, I mean, like, I keep teetering between selling my female clown pied, but if I just wait a year, her babies are going to be worth more than I would get for her. And so it feels like a really dumb business decision to...
Just get rid of highway. Fuck that project. What? Just keep the super asphalts and get rid of all the highways. But keep this, super gravels. Because then you're in the cooler part of the project anyway. You just take a break on it for 2 years.
Yeah, but it's my only project that's like producing what I want it to produce right now. It's the only satisfying project right now.
I mean, you'll
But you're
have
not wrong.
satisfying stuff next year, right?
I gotta sit down now that I've done with math. I have 2 more weeks of English.
Like we bought the banana clown and the spot-nose yellow belly het clown in the fall, right? We have to buy the same things for the next year now too. Again, more. The circle of life continues. I have probably enough like corn snake girls for boys. Like their ratio is fine. Every male has 3 females, and I'm not relying on super young males. But I just have to figure out if I want to deal with Ron Burgundy's babies a second. The other thing is,
You know, a third season? Didn't he?
No, this is his first season.
Oh, okay.
He was a little baby. The other thing that's weird about corn snakes, by the way, is their rate of deformities is much higher than all pythons. So I had a cleft.
Yeah, but if you get like
Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean.
20 babies.
What I'm saying is
the
the king snake
one or two are
eaten
broken.
well. Like I've gotten domed heads 4 times. I've gotten not dwarfs, but they look dwarf because like the spine is fused laterally, so they're like short and stocky. I mean, these animals are born alive and they look fine. And a lot of them don't eat, so that's like an even better impetus to dispatch them and then humanely, by the way, and then feed them to the king snake. But I've had those. I had one that was born with the cloaca out and never retracted, and then it never shed. And I'm like, you gotta go to the king snake also, because I don't think you're gonna make it either. But yeah, they like smash out 20, 30 babies, and then they double clutch. And they don't seem to give a shit about quality. They're all about quantity.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're getting into the corn snakes, get ready for some real monstrosities to roll out of an egg. I had some sort of albino type born from like the double clutch from Molly that was, I put this in the Discord, like so kinked. It looked like a first grade art project or something. Just like crumpled together so intensely. I was like, this is not my favorite. But that one was sired 100% by Octavian the orchid. So he took the double clutch. She just didn't make very good eggs. Because she also produced a lavender baby, who I called that one because it was also dome-headed. I think we did it. Do you have any other fun feelings you want to share?
I just cut my first clutch for my enhancer het G-stripe male. It was leopard to the enhancer het G-stripe. I don't know if there's any leopard in there, but the babies, I mean, it's like a normal clutch to anyone else, but double hets are real pretty, and the babies, a couple, like 2 or 3 of them are real bright. Even
What
in
was
the
the
egg.
mom? Just a leopard?
Yeah, the mom was just a leopard.
Okay. All right, sweet.
So I can't tell in the egg yet if any of them are leopard.
Can I tell you a
couple of them,
secret?
like, what?
Het Desert Ghost doesn't look any different to me than not Het Desert Ghost. What do you think about that secret?
Really?
Mm-hmm. Het
I disagree.
Desert Ghost and Het Pied look different than just Het Pied. Or Het Desert Ghost. But just the single looks the same.
Interesting. I don't necessarily agree with you. But once these come out, though, I am going to send you pictures that you're going to ignore because you're going to be in crazy land. But
I just say I would pick
It'll
the
be
brighter
interesting.
ones because those are the doubles.
correct.
But if,
Correct.
because
It'll
he
be
was a
interesting if you
visual,
can see
whatever.
What I'm trying to say. I mean, I'll probably keep all the girls, but it'll be interesting if you can see what I'm seeing.
Like, I mean, I could probably do a fucking YouTube video about it, but my Inchy Het Desert Ghost is way uglier than my Inchy Het Clown, for example.
Okay. Well,
Clown is a much better head effect than Desert Ghost. And I don't know if I think Desert Ghost is head effect at all.
Well, see,
And when Will Morose agrees with me, so.
my Pastel Clown by DG Posset Cryptic is day 51. So in about 5 or 6 days. I should know if he's het cryptic, but I really think he is. So my experience of they look better could be being influenced by het cryptic as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be why I am disagreeing with you, if that makes sense.
I'll just send you the video from Will, but like I was looking at them as I was bagging them up, and I'm like, God, Desert Ghost, Het Desert Ghost by itself does nothing at all. It has to be a combo double het for you to be like, oh, that's a little bit better than a het pied or a little bit better than a het clown. I just don't think it does anything at all. I was just noticing that whatever day that was. Yeah, I would keep the brighter ones for sure.
Okay.
Good luck on your clutch cutting in like 5 days.
Yeah, fingers crossed that I hit at least one leopard female. That would be nice. But either way, I'm keeping females because I don't have any of those. So, I mean, I have visuals, but I don't have any growing up, and I need to have more growing up. But I definitely have to pick something to sell and go so that I can get the males that I need. I'm waiting on that clutch to prove out if my DG is het cryptic, because if he is, then I cannot sell that female.
What female?
Because my clown pied female.
Oh,
if my
sure,
DG,
yeah. That's fine.
If my DG,
but you
is
could
het
sell
cryptic,
the male and stop making het clown pied. You could always keep her to make triple things, but you don't necessarily need the male to be like making hets with the particular male you have. So if you wanted to like free up cash to buy a Kiki, that's where I would have lopped it off. I maybe never even would have sold the female.
Yeah, but I bought the clown pied with the understanding that I was buying a Kiki male. Like,
I know, but right now you can't buy a Kiki male. So you don't need the clown pied because you're going to reduce number of projects, or at least the depth in the project. So keeping the female and selling the male means you don't need to just make hets with the male. You're just going to use the female to make cryptics, double het, desert ghost, pied, or whatever. Forever.
I don't know. We'll see. I got to sit down and list everything out and think about it.
Do that, because you're going to realize your goal of 15 clutches is silly with the number of snakes you both have and are planning to hold back. So you're going to have to be like, okay, if I'm going to do I'm going to pair 30 a year and hope I only hit half. Okay, that's a fine plan, right? Because you're going to be mostly younger females. There's nothing wrong with keeping the bestest of the 30 females, but you already have 30, so I don't know. You're not following the holdback rack lifestyle plan, so I don't know what you're following.
What are we doing right now if you're not holding everything back?
I know.
I am holding so much
right,
back.
but then you say you don't want to, and so you're confused.
But me holding back hatchlings is good. Me having adult females that are actively breeding while I'm deep in school. By the time I finish school, those girls will be usable.
Right.
So like having them in the bank rather than pausing and then when I come out of school being like, shit, now I'm even further behind because I didn't keep all the good shit.
There's no
I'm
behind.
trying to live the
There's
whole
no
back
behind.
lifestyle. I'm trying to live the whole back lifestyle.
So are you going to hold back double het clown pied combos? I guess is my question. Or visual clown het pied from the male? Like, do you want to breed the male this year and hold back 5 or 10 babies from that project?
Yes. I want
in addition to 20 from Kiki.
Visual of one or the other, het the other.
Okay. Don't you think that cohort is getting bigger again?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, sure. You're doing great-ish.
Doing great-ish.
Yeah, I'm just like, as always, you're doing fine. I like holding a lot of things back. I'm into it. I just don't breed as much as you did this year, ever, on purpose. Because I don't want to spend money on ball pythons because it kind of sucks sometimes. So I'd rather hold back a corn snake sometimes because they're red.
Yeah, I need to reduce a project, so it's either going to be highway or clown pied.
It's got to be highway.
Then I like highway.
Pick one. Keep super gravels. Get rid of the rest of highway. Because it's a dumb project anyway. What?
Well, I mean, if I'm going to get rid of the adult highways, obviously I could keep the super gravel females, but if I'm going to get rid of highway, then I should get rid of everything and go asphalt.
Yeah.
And go asphalt head clown.
There's nothing wrong with staying gravel if you wanted. Asphalt looks juicier, but you have super gravels, not super asphalts. In terms of just long term, obviously there's more power in the clown pied than in highway, even if you have super gravels. So yes, but if you really wanted to like keep the flavor alive, you could keep even just your one female super gravel to breed a Kiki to one day. We'll see you guys next week. Maybe I'll be in Oklahoma. Maybe not.
The saga continues.
Yeah, I'll probably record late next week.
Yeah, that next week's episode.
Probably like record on Wednesday or Thursday.
She's dreaming. We're probably gonna record on Friday or Saturday, so it'll be out a couple of days late. But that's cool. Everybody's gonna be great and understanding. We may even skip next week.
Well, we could do the live next week. I was gonna do like Instagram stories of like where I was or who I murdered on my way there.
Are you stopping by St. Kelley's to murder him, or is he further than you?
He's further.
I don't know my geography,
Yeah, way further.
Hillbilly County. You don't need to know geography because you're never getting out of that county. So they didn't teach us in school.
Yeah, further. I'll try to make the stories updating as we get closer because I haven't been posting very much on Instagram since I just felt busy,
overwhelmed,
and distressed.
Yes, everybody give Jessica a round of applause for showing up.
I don't know if I deserve it. I did come here tonight to record, and
You did.
You know what? This might be the Snyder cut of the edit. So.
Snyder cut. Huh?
Jana, do you watch movies?
Not really.
Okay. This is the
like a pop culture reference. I was a very sheltered person, and I've been in.
Oh God, this happened like 4 years ago. Come on.
Right, when I had 3 children.
Listen, stop squeezing kids out of your hoo-ha, because it's distracting you.
Shops closed. Forever.
Just, cut them off. Jana's cut off from reproducing for the time being.
Yeah,
If you want to squeeze one out later, you're just going to take a break. You need to heal.
I had to, hold up the, equal population because you only had one. So
listen, we don't need any more people. We're good, probably.
Had to do yours.
The thing I made is
you died, then there's 2 humans to replace you and your husband.
No,
you're welcome.
You don't need them. We'll have dogs with thumbs soon to take care of us. I can't wait.
That's right. Or gorillas.
I don't want a gorilla. They have weird penises.
That should have been in the other episode. All right, we digress. Good night, everybody. We will, well, it's probably not night for you. You're listening whenever, but we will do our best. Have some grace for Jessica. Send her good vibes or whatever.
Yeah, I guess my question is, if people want to send a message because they want a live on either Instagram or YouTube and not pre-recorded, but I won't edit it
Jana.
In the middle of the week.
Okay.
Send it to Jana. If we hit 5 requests, that would be an all-time high messages in a week.
Or if you're a harem.
Yeah. But if you don't want a live, then we'll just record fucking whenever next week. Whenever I don't want to commit suicide on that particular day.
I think I'll talk her into a live and we'll do it on our business accounts.
On Instagram?
On Instagram.
Yeah. And I can rip the audio from that. We figured it out.
Yeah, we'll show us the new, Snake Shack and,
it'll be like, take a shot every time somebody says a bad word. We'll have a swear jar, but it'll be alcohol. So everyone has to take a shot at home.
Are you done?
I'm not done, but I am now. Bye.